What's good, Chiefs Kingdom? These are your guys, Scott, Nick, Bo, here joining you on a Saturday edition of the Kingdom Cast. We're going to be doing some Week 6 picks. We're going to talk about some Chiefs injury news that came out on the injury report here in the last day or so. Maybe break down that game a little more in depth when we do our picks there. So do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe button down below. Turn on your notifications. Follow us on our social media accounts at The Kingdom Cast on all platforms. We put some stuff out there during the week, and it helps, spread it around. We appreciate shares and retweets and likes on those platforms as well. Helps get the word out. We're really wanting to grow the show, get some more people watching, get some comments. This is the Kingdom Cast. It's not the Scott, Nick, and Bo cast. So we'd be happy if you share us and tell your friends and family and join in and shoot us some comments and become part of the show. Guys, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. Bo?
I'm doing great. As you can see, I have a change of venue. I'm on the road traveling up to Washington State, so at a hotel room today, but making it work. Other than that, I'm great.
Good. Yeah, those of you don't know, Bo's kind of like the vagabond Chiefs fan. He travels and lives all around the country and represents the team. So he's out there on the front lines spreading the word for Chiefs Kingdom, which we appreciate. I think we're going to start talking today here. Chiefs obviously play Washington football team tomorrow. There's kind of an extensive injury list that came out here, and some people are inactive, some people are questionable. Bo, what you got there?
Yeah, man. I saw the injury report today, and it's quite an extensive list compared to the past couple of weeks. The notable ones, again, Chris Jones is out, not going to play for sure. Charvarius Ward is out. Hitchens is questionable. Let's see who else we got. We got Tooney, he's questionable, and Tyreek Hill's questionable as well. So some key players on that list. We kind of talked about it a little bit on Tuesday. I mean, it's a lot of our defensive players that are out, and that's where we're struggling. So I'm really hoping our secondary's learned a lot in the past week and can hold it together. How are you feeling about this, Nick?
Yeah, obviously injuries are never good. I'm, again, disappointed that Chris Jones isn't playing. I know that Tooney finished the game with a broken hand and then came back, and I think you said earlier he had a full practice this week after he came back with a cast/club on his hand. I don't know, maybe, the injury is more significant than they're letting on. I don't know if that's a Chris Jones decision or a team doctor decision, how that goes, but it's disappointing to have one of your star players that is getting paid quite a bit of money, not playing these games with something that, like a wrist, it's not like it's a hamstring or, an ankle or something. So it's definitely not good, but look, it's, as long as we have 15, I feel pretty good about our odds regardless of who's playing. I think that the issues that we've been having on defense are a lot of, people being in position, and also, the level of team that we've been playing, factors somewhat into that. So I think that, now that we're starting to hit a little bit of a softer part of the schedule, I think that you'll see the defense, appear to be a little bit better. I hope they can continue some of that momentum they had in the second half of that Buffalo game. They only gave up 7 points in the second half of that Buffalo game. So if they can take some of that, that motivation that they had and some of those things that they were doing, some of that aggressiveness and bring it into this week, I feel pretty good. Now that I'm a few days away from that loss, I'm not so doom and gloom as it was maybe when we were talking Tuesday. So
no doubt. Yeah, the Chris Jones thing is puzzling. What's going on there? They haven't said anything. I haven't heard anything. It just says wrist. I haven't heard broken wrist, sprained
and
wrist.
Did not practice.
He hasn't had surgery. He's missing the second week here. You see guys, like I said a little bit ago, Tooney plays, a game with a broken hand, and then he's a full participant in practice with a cast on. He's out there blocking people. He's using his hands and more than you would think out of Chris Jones would. especially with the season. I'm not going to say in peril, but they're not in a good spot right now with all these AFC losses racked up on them and being below 500 5 weeks into the season. We talked a little bit on Tuesday's show. When you start looking at the math of what it's going to take in a 17-game season to make the playoffs, maybe you've only got 6-7 losses. Chiefs have burned through half of those already to this point. So, yeah, I would like to see him out there. The Tyreek Hill the injury there is concerning. He's been
the
obviously
Tyreek
one of
Hill
the bigger offensive
injury.
threats.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Scott. The Tyreek Hill injury. Andy Reid said he was popping around at practice today and shouldn't be an issue for Sunday. Sorry, I just read that just now.
No, you're
sorry.
Good.
But, so that's a good news right there.
For sure. Yeah, it's a relief to hear that. Travis Kelce, he had the scary hit to the head last week, and they said it was a stinger after the game and then the next day. And I never even heard him being in the concussion protocol, clearing protocol, which is good news. Not just for his availability for the game tomorrow, but health overall. Concussions are scary things. I think he's had an issue or two in the past where he had concussions. So good news there. You get the playmakers on offense. It's pretty obvious at this point in the season. The defense is a work in progress. It's been a disaster. It's been historically bad when you look at the points given up. They've had, I don't know if you saw Jalen Hurts. He looked lost in that game against the Buccaneers, and the dude looked like the second coming of, I don't know, Mike Vick or something when he played us. So the Chiefs are going to have to win with offense, even if the defense – even if they marginally improve, you're talking about the 20th ranked defense, the 25th ranked defense. They're dead last in pretty much every major statistical measure there is out there. So we need those guys healthy, need the offense going, need Patrick Mahomes out there with his full arsenal and his full array at his disposal for these games. Anything else you guys see on the injury report that, the Charvarius Ward thing is weird. He's been out for several weeks now. I've heard that perhaps Juan Thornhill has been getting some more first-team reps this week over Dan Sorensen. Well. Not sure if you guys saw that or not. I don't know what to think about that. It's a little worrisome, to be honest, with Juan Thornhill that it takes Dan Sorensen playing this bad as he did last week to start getting reps and get on the field. What does the team think about him if they haven't even put him in over Dan to this point? Bo, what do you think Juan Thornhill? Maybe.
I think if he is, I haven't seen how many reps he's getting in practice, but if he is getting more first string reps, I think it would almost serve to just kind of light a fire under Dan Sorensen's ass. We all know that players have hot and cold streaks, man. This could just be Dan's cold streak. You know what I mean? We've seen him come through clutch so many times that I don't know that they'd pull him right away. But I mean, if somebody else is doing better, I'm up for that. Next man up. I mean, there's only one place we can go from the bottom, right? We should start getting better. And if it involves doing that, I mean, it sucks, but I would like to see a better defense. And if it takes, getting rid of Dan Sorensen and putting in Thornhill, I'm okay with that.
Nick?
Yeah, I think I saw, there's been a lot of stuff about Dirty Dan over the last week since he got torched in that game, and people saying that, from the last 3 seasons, he's gone from 50% of the snaps to 80% of the snaps to this year. It's like, almost, if not 100% of the snaps. So, and you can see that the defensive performance kind of is in an opposite trajectory, right? I think that putting that and pinning that on Dan Sorensen is unfair. It doesn't take into account, our rushing defense. It doesn't take into account, let's get the guy some freaking help, right? I mean, I think that shitting on one player and acting like they're the problem is just kind of a chicken shit thing to do, right? I see these posts about, there's like a GoFundMe to buy out Dan Sorensen's contract, and
I saw that.
It's going to be funny, right? But have some appreciation for what that guy has done. Do we win that game against the Browns if he doesn't have that play where he knocks that ball and causes a turnover at the goal line right before half? Do we win that Texans game where we're down 24 without his special teams plays? And I know that that's not defensive plays, but do we win the game this year with Baker Mayfield? Coming out of Dan doesn't trip him up and cause him to throw that pick right at the end. They had the ball, and if they go down and score with no time left, then they were going to win that game. And so I think that he's been exposed. But as Scott said, he's not a coverage back, right? Maybe Thornhill can come in, but I mean, if he's really that good, then why isn't he on the field already, right?
Yeah,
that's the question. So if they thought that he was better, then it's not like they're just saying this guy sucks, but we're gonna play him instead of somebody else that we think is a lot better. I don't think that the Chiefs operate that way. Todd Haley may have operated that way with Tom Jones and Jamal Charles. He may have just really liked Thomas Jones for whatever reason, but Andy Reid's not that way. He's not. I don't think Steve Spagnuolo is that way. You've seen where when who was that lost that Chargers game for us, and then he never saw the field again. God, what was that guy's name? Orlando Scandrick.
Yeah.
So you've seen where these people Andy Reid will shit can people if they show that they just totally suck. So I don't know. I guess we can't get any worse, right? Thornhill can't play any worse in coverage than Sorensen has the past few weeks. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But we're not going up against the Bills or the Chargers this week, right? So my fear is that somebody else comes in and then they look good, but it's against a weaker opponent. So it's not really a comparison. So
right. Well, Washington football team has Terry McLaurin, who's one of the better receivers in the league. So they may not be a juggernaut on offense, but at the same time, that dude is a damn good wide receiver and a big, deep threat. He's fast. He's young. I'm not going to say he's a top 5 receiver in the league, but especially for younger receivers, I think a lot of people would put him in the top 10 as far as playmakers. So be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. You hate to say it can never get worse, but things can always get worse.
We hope from here it can get better.
People just seem like you were talking about, they think if Juan Thornhill was looking like Ed Reed in practice, his ass would be out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the dumping on Dan Sorensen, I don't bring it up to say that I think he's the problem with the defense. Hell, if anything, it looks like he's in there on every play. It looks like he's probably got the biggest motor on the defense. I see him in there sticking his nose in, trying to make plays. He's involved a lot. He might not make the play, but he's trying. People have short memories.
I think it's the low-hanging fruit.
What he did in the playoffs. Just look at Patrick Mahomes. People are criticizing Patrick Mahomes right now. And, is he the best quarterback in the league still? Is he coming back down to earth if teams figured him out? The dude's on pace to throw for almost 5,100 yards and 55 touchdowns this year. He's had some interceptions that weren't his fault. The guy scrambles, makes plays with his legs, keeps drives alive on 3rd and longs. So, yeah, it's a what have you done for me lately with most fans. They forget. But at the same time, who cares what the guy did for us? I mean, Trent Green was a good player for us in 2003, but that doesn't mean shit this year as far as the goals and what the team's trying to accomplish this season. But, yeah, it's frustrating to me to see people try to blame one guy. I don't know. I'd like to think Washington is a place where the team can get healthy, but I thought maybe that would be the case with the Eagles.
My chair just full.
Didn't happen. So what's that, Bo?
My chair just fell. It was propped up and it just sank.
Well, stay somewhere nicer than the Motel 6 next time.
Yeah, right.
Bo. I mean,
this is
spring for the Holiday Inn
staying
Express.
out here on the road. But no,
Right.
Going off what you're saying, man, I don't think anybody's going to say Dan Sorensen's the problem with our defense, man. It was just some very big glaring mistakes where I feel like that's just the low hanging fruit to kind of attack, right? Obviously we're going to need some better pass coverage. we all know that he's not the greatest pass cover guy man to man. So like I said, just the low hanging fruit right there. If you're going to blame, if there's something to criticize, that's the easiest right there. But I mean, you can look to our passing defense and obviously see like that's a bigger problem, right, than just one person. The whole rushing defense is terrible. Our secondary is just leaving guys wide open. So yeah, I'm not trying to put it on one person, but I mean, if that is the low hanging fruit and that's an easy fix to make right away, I'm okay with fixing any problems at this point.
Look, another thing is it's hard to have coverage for 5, 6, 7 seconds, and we are not getting to the quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, like that play where Sorensen like kind of like looked like he gave up or whatever. Like, I mean, he had the guy locked down for 4 or 5 seconds. Why the hell is Josh Allen not getting pressure in his face and allowed to just, you know, make a 60-yard throw downfield after that long? It's a team sport, you know?
Right, for sure. No, there's deficiencies across the board. You're not historically bad.
Yeah.
And it not, you know, I heard some people talking this last week, and I thought it was interesting. People were saying, could this defense possibly be worse than the 2018 defense that Patrick Mahomes and the offense carried to the AFC Championship game and ended up losing ultimately to Tom Brady and the Patriots in that game? And someone on there said that team led the league in sacks that year, at least the defense. They had something that they were good at. This defense doesn't have anything that they're good at. It doesn't seem like. They don't rush the passer. They can't cover. They can't stop the run. They can't get off the field on fourth down. They're bad. They're bad. So to say that it's all Dan Sorensen's fault definitely is a cop-out. And when the team struggles, you're not going to get this with Patrick Mahomes, but how many times have we seen this before on past Chiefs teams, or you see around the league, quarterback controversies? The backup quarterback always is everybody's favorite player on the team when your team's not doing well, if you don't have a superstar, like, because the guy's not out there looking like shit. Juan Thornhill comes out and looks bad for a couple of games, maybe even looks worse than Dan Sorensen. What are people going to say then? So they need to get better. There's no doubt about that. But obviously, if the Chiefs are going to get to where they want to go this year, it's going to be a majority of the load is going to be on Patrick and the offensive shoulders. We'll see if they can carry it. But unless you guys got anything else on that, you want to get into some picks?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. First game we have here, Packers at the Bears. I know the Packers are on kind of a tear right now, kind of dominating everybody they play. Bears are kind of getting reorganized. They're looking like a solid football team for once. How are you guys feeling about this game? You think Aaron Rodgers is coming in and dominates, or you think the Bears are their defense is going to shine and make it a game? How are you feeling about this, Scott?
The Bears have won a couple games in a row, but granted, that's against the Lions and the Raiders, which I just think is so funny. The 3-0 Raiders, they're going to win the division. They're better than they've passed the Chiefs. Oh, look at Derek Carr. Oh, they're 3-0. Please save that.
They put up 6 points.
Yeah, that's not a playoff team. They had the distractions with the John Gruden stuff. Who knows how much that factors into it, but you'd like to think, for the most part, professional athletes are putting that out of their mind when they're out there playing the game. John Gruden still was coaching the game. A majority of the bad stuff that had come out about him hadn't even come out yet. So, Bears, Justin Fields looked better. Not like he could really look worse than he did in his NFL debut against the Browns. They look like they might have a few things going their way. But this is a reality check, I feel like, this week for the Bears. They are in for a long day, I feel like, against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers has kind of owned this team in this division. So I'm going to pick the Packers. Nick?
It's hard to go against Aaron Rodgers when he's playing the Bears, right? So, I think my gut, I'm just going to go with my gut. I'm going to say the Packers win. They probably win by 7 points. I don't know what the spread is, but if I had to pick, that's what I'd pick.
Clean sweep with the Packers then, because I got them as well. I just don't see the Bears being able to stop Devontae Adams. That guy is tearing it up. Aaron Rodgers is on another level, as always, compared to the field. Yeah, I just don't see the Bears stopping them even at home. I got the Packers by 7 as well.
Yeah, and I like the Bears. Don't get me wrong.
All right, to the next game.
They've got good fans there, so it's encouraging if you're a Bears fan. But yeah, I think you get a little dose of back to reality this week. Vikings Panthers. Nick, what do you think about this one?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be rest in peace, Darnold hype train after this game. I think the Vikings are really a couple of fluky plays or calls away from being a lot higher in people's power rankings than they are right now. I think the Panthers started out hot, but they had obvious troubles against Dallas, and so I'm going to pick the Vikings in this game. I think they're going to be too much for them, and Sam Darnold's turning back into a pumpkin. So,
Bo?
What do you think, Bo?
After watching Kirk Cousins get in his coach's face saying, "You like that? You like that?" I like that. I'm going to have to go with the Vikings. Man. I like the passion that he's bringing. Normally, some guy is kind of considered calm and kind of dorky in the league by other people. He's getting passion fired up, almost picking on his coach. I'm really enjoying watching all the excitement going on in Minnesota. So I got them by a field goal. And I think they have only lost three of their games have been by 3 points or less, I think. So, yeah, the Vikings are just, one score away from being a completely dominant team.
Vikings are the better team. They should win the game. But the Vikings are just, man, like, to me, they're now the Chargers have kind of turned it around and are winning some close games this year. But to me, they're one of those teams that you see them every week and you think they should win and you think they're a really good team. And Kirk Cousins is fired up and he has a couple good games. And Dalvin Cook's one of the best running backs in the NFL. And they find a way to lose. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. They lose on a missed field goal. They lose on a botched play at the end of the game. I'll never forget that Saints and so I just don't where they missed the field goal. I think it was they were playing in that was the Seahawks. They were playing in that college stadium because they had their stuff going on, and it was just missed field goals. They seem to be like a snake bit team. Unfortunately for the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey looks like he's going to miss at least another 3 weeks. So naturally, the year I actually get the first pick in the league in fantasy football and get Christian McCaffrey, he'll miss half the season with injury. That's just the way that goes, of course.
Him and Saquon Barkley are out, right?
So, yeah, Saquon Barkley, he's out. I don't know.
That's why I didn't draft McCaffrey this year. That happened to me last year. So,
yeah, just crazy. I'll pick the Vikings, but I never feel good about picking the Vikings. If the Panthers win this game, I wouldn't be surprised.
All right. So on to the AFC West. We got our division champions right now, or the leaders. I shouldn't say champions. We're the champs. They're going against the Ravens. I feel like this is going to be a great test to see where the Chargers are really at. A great quarterback matchup, Herbert versus Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? Like two different styles, two different completely offenses. It'll be interesting to see how they match up. I've got the Ravens on this one. I just don't see the Chargers hanging in there with that fast-paced offense that the Ravens have. I got the Ravens by touchdown. I feel like a solid ass whooping is going to be handed out to the Chargers. How are you feeling about this one, Scott?
The Chargers I saw actually somehow passed the Chiefs up after this game last week they had against the Browns for the worst run defense in the league. That does not match up well for a game against the Baltimore Ravens. The Chargers, they've played with fire in a few of these games. They got a bad call on that fourth down, which we've talked about, I know, ad nauseum on this show, that kept their game-winning drive, alive against the Chiefs. Then they squeaked one out miraculously at the end against the Browns at home. Their defense is not very good. Justin Herbert has looked like maybe he's stepping his game up. But, yeah, if you can't stop the run, if you're the worst run defense in the league, you're gonna have a rough go against the Ravens. Give me the Ravens in a little bit closer game. I think they win by 3, 4, somewhere in there, field goal. Nick?
All right.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are. I don't know. I don't know if paper tigers is the right term or not, but they are one call away from losing the Chiefs game, like you said, and then in that Browns game, they missed the extra point, and then like the Browns had the ball with the lead, right? 3 minutes left, just had terrible clock management, and went 3 and out essentially. And then the Browns had the ball again with the chance, minute and a half, and they just again with like really weird plays where they're just not going far downfield. And I think that against a quality opponent, maybe a head coach with more experience, that they're not going to win that game. They're also the first. Everybody was saying this about the giving the stat in reverse for the Browns, but the Chargers are the first team ever to win. When they scored 40 points and they didn't force a turnover, right? So like the Browns scored 40 points and didn't turn the ball over and lost. And so you're just not going to win a lot of games if you're, doing that. And Harbaugh is he's not going to miss on, running out the clock with Lamar Jackson in their rushing attack. So I think also I like the Ravens in this game. So I think the Chargers, fall back to earth a little bit after this one. So
it's funny because everybody talks about Stefanski, the coach of the Browns, like he's one of the top coaches in the league. And Nick Chubb got hurt. I didn't watch that game, so he's out this week. I don't know how much of a role that played in there at the end of that game. I'm not sure when that injury occurred. But how do you not run out the game with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb against the worst rushing defense in the league? That's mind blowing to me that you could not be able to close a game out with those two guys.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they go 3 and out on passes too?
Yeah. They
were 3 minutes left.
So it was just really like a clinic in exactly what not to do. Andy Reid-esque from 5 years ago, where like it'd be like the end of the half, and it's just like, what are we doing? What? So, So I don't know. Fuck the Chargers. I hope they lose. I hope they don't win another game. So
clean sweep for the Ravens there on that one.
Yeah.
Nick, how you feeling about this game? Raiders at the Donkeys.
Is there a way that both teams can lose?
Yeah,
I'm hoping for a tie. First tie of the year.
A 0-0 tie would be ideal here. I mean, you got to pick one. I think that the Raiders. Do we know who's their interim head coach? Is it one of they have like an interim from their staff, I guess?
Special teams coach.
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, I don't know his name either, but I know it's their special teams guy. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, with all that stuff that's going on, I mean,
I don't think
it's a distraction, but I think
that's the difference. Like in the game, I don't know if that's how much that makes a difference in the game, though. I mean,
yeah, right.
The interim head coach who nobody's ever heard of before. I don't.
That's kind of my point. I mean, sometimes you do see people rally in this instance where they came off of like a tough loss, they kind of get embarrassed. I think the Broncos just I don't think are good at all. I mean, I think that they have a pretty decent defense, but is it who's starting quarterback for the Broncos? Do we know?
I think it's Teddy.
Is it Bridgewater? Yeah, I mean, give me the Raiders by 3. I don't know. I hope that both of them lose, but that's not really possible. So, what do you think, Scott?
Yeah, the real losers of this game are the fans of those two teams. So, the Broncos, their defense is pretty salty. The Raiders came out hot and won, that game against the Ravens where they tried. It was like, no, you win. No, I insist you win. No. We want you to win. It was an ugly game. they're not all that great. They've got the distractions going on with whatever the hell their coaching situation is. Match that up with the Ponies being at home. They've got a defense. The Bears' defense is nothing to write home about. They just held the Raiders to 6 points. Derek Carr is, you never know what you're going to get with him from game to game. He's cooled off after his extremely hot start. I'll take the home team to win. I think this is one of those games where it could be like a 17-14 game, and I'm going to lean the Broncos.
I can see this game stop being broadcast because it's just a terrible game, and they show some more interesting game. Yeah, I'm really hoping for a tie. I know that's kind of the improbability there, but that's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick up straight up tie between these two, with the advantage to the Broncos just because they are at home and they have the elevation. And traveling around the U.S., I'm finding that is a thing, that is a a factor to take into consideration that I never really considered before. But yeah, I don't really care to talk about either team. I don't watch either of their games, so couldn't really tell you too much about them right now.
Nick and I went to the Rolling Stones concert out there at the Broncos Stadium a couple of years ago, and our seats were fairly high up. They weren't at the very top, but they were close to the top. And we climbed up the stairs and got to our seats. I was sitting there, and I was like, a little out of breath. I was like, damn. So, it's a thing. Probably not as much for finely tuned athletes, but it's definitely an advantage. So, I think so. That's all three of us picking the Broncos?
No, I picked the Raiders.
I picked a tie.
The Raiders.
You picked the Broncos. I want to hear it.
I can't. Yeah, I don't think I could ever hear the words "I'm picking the Raiders" come out of my mouth. I just don't think I could do it.
When it's a tie, I don't know. It's going to be pretty mind blowing. It's like, how did you call that? Like, I don't know, I just knew it.
What's the score going to be in that tie?
Ooh, 21-21.
21-21.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, last game that we're going to be picking here for this week. Our game. We kind of already picked it, but kind of go over what we're feeling this week again. Scott, how are you feeling about this what the team we're playing?
Patrick Mahomes should have a field day with this pass defense. Washington, they won their division on the backs of their defense, but defenses are weird in the NFL from year to year. Just look at the Chiefs. Nobody anticipated the Chiefs being the worst defense in the league this year. Nobody. You can't find a person anywhere that thought that the defense was going to be as bad as it is. When you play fantasy football, it's always extremely hard to know year to year who's going to have a really strong defense and who's not. It's hard to play defense in this league. Injuries, schemes, personnel swapping in and out. I'm a little worried about
the offense.
Yeah, I'm really worried about. I'm not gonna say I'm really worried about it. I'm concerned about the edge rusher for Washington, though. Chase Young against our tackle over there, who has been less than stellar. They're going to need to plan for that. As long as he doesn't come in and just wreck the game, I feel that the Chiefs win this game by somewhere in the Eagles, 14 to 17 points. They shouldn't let Washington really hang around in this game. But with our defense, anything is possible, I guess. When I say that out loud, that we shouldn't let them hang around, I guess I shouldn't say that necessarily when you have the worst defense in the league and one of the worst scoring defenses in the league in the last 60 years or however long it is that it's been. So I think the Chiefs score 35-38 in this game, and I think Washington probably scores 25-26, somewhere in there. So give me Chiefs 38-24. Nick?
Yeah, I don't know where this, media narrative came about that the Chiefs just aren't good on offense and that Patrick Mahomes has figured out. I saw some stats that the Chiefs are top 3 in, points per game, plays per drive, points per drive. They've had the least amount of drives, which part of that's because they're not going 3 and out. Part of that's because their defense sucks, and so they're not getting the ball as many times. But, like as you said, Patrick Mahomes is, even after, what some people would call a subpar performance against the Bills, there's some fluky turnovers there. He's still on pace for over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns or whatever. So I don't foresee that changing in this game. And so I think you're going to see our defense is going to look better in this game. I really do. I think they're not going to look good, but I don't think that they're going to be like this bumbling buffoon. I think that if you see that come out again this week, you're going to probably start seeing some pressure from ownership. You mentioned that the defense, is it worse than 2018? I saw some advanced statistics that, said that not only is it worse, but it's significantly worse. I don't know how all these advanced statistics work out, but they rated the Chiefs defense in that year, 2018, right? Is like a -7. And this year our defense has been like a -20 something. So, not knowing what that means, I can do like simple math and say, that's like 2 to 3 times worse. However, that's being measured, right? So I think that you're going to see that turnaround, and then some of that is, the Chiefs have had turnovers on like 22% of their offensive drives. So, they're still top in points, but they're turning the ball over 1 out of every 4 to 5 drives. So if they can clear that up, they're going to be putting up, 40 points a game. So I see that they're going to start, normalizing. I think you're going to see the defense is going to have a turnaround. I don't know if they, what's going on in the locker room, right? But you got to know that Honey Badger is in there, trying to right the ship. So I think the Chiefs are going to probably put up, give me over 40 points again. They're going to win 42-26.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both of you guys have them scoring about 25, 26 on us. I see the same thing, a minor improvement of our defense. I'm really hoping for, a miraculous performance by them, something we haven't seen, maybe 2, 3 and outs back to back, make them punt and get Byron Pringle and the Jet out there returning some punts, maybe for a touchdown. I agree. I think we're going to, if we can mitigate all the turnovers that we're committing and just, hold on to the ball, I feel like we're going to score 4. That 50 burger is coming. I'm telling you, it's coming this season. If we could just hold on to the ball, we would have had it already this year. So if we can just maintain our turnover ratio, I think we're going to be good. And I feel like that's kind of the key for the rest of our season, just maintaining that ratio, keep it on the positive or the better side of it. Get it down. The defense, like I said, I'm hoping for something, but I don't think they're going to come out flying. I think we're probably still going to get 20, 30 points scored on us too. But I think our offense, we'll see some sparks again. Last week, I just saw Patrick Mahomes like underthrowing a lot of balls. I don't know. The rain was an issue and everything. So I just see him tearing it up this week. Give me the Chiefs by like 14.
So if they score 50 and they win by 14, that means you still give up 36, which is not good.
On par. It's about on par for all the other.
That's what you think.
Yeah, maybe it's 30 and they score a late meaningless touchdown. Let's hope that's not the case there. So, yeah, the Chargers game, they scored 28 or 30 points and had 4 turnovers. These games where they have 3 or 4 turnovers, they're still scoring 30 points, 30 plus points.
Exactly.
So we'll see. The turnover thing, like we talked about on Tuesday's show, that I believe that's going to be the key to the season right there. Yeah. Stop giving the damn ball away and figure out a way to take the ball back for the offense. I just don't see the coaching staff making adjustments or us finding players from the outside to bring in to dramatically improve the defense to where all of a sudden now they're 15th. You go from 32nd to 15th to top 15. That's not going to happen. I mentioned earlier that 2018 defense, they led the league in sacks. Just find something that you can be really good at to help offset where you're really, really bad elsewhere. And I feel like turnovers are things you can try. You can try blitzing more. You can try punching at the ball, things like that. It seems to me that's something that the Chiefs defense could try to focus on. And if you can take the ball away, then you don't need to worry about Dan Sorensen or whoever it is in coverage. And you don't have to worry about these big, long scoring drives and red zone defense. If you can just figure out a way to take the ball away a couple times a game, that will mask a lot. Hopefully they can focus on that. It seems like that's something that with effort and attention that most teams should be able to improve at.
Yeah, they just need to find some kind of identity, right?
Yeah.
So do you guys think that right now there's too much pressure on Patrick Mahomes' shoulders to carry the team right now? Or do you think he's capable of handling that pressure and we'll see it come through this week? We talked a lot about how bad the defense is, and I'm sure he knows that he's got to step it up on offense. He said that in his press conference. He's just giving away stupid balls, and he needs to work on it. What's your guys' take? Do you guys think there's too much pressure on him?
There's definitely a lot of pressure on him.
There's a lot of pressure, right? But I mean that there's no more pressure than there was last year, right?
The defense was a lot better last year than it is this year.
But my point is that they were getting everybody's best shot last year too, right? They're getting everybody's best shot this year, and maybe even people start to kind of overlook them now. Maybe they'll play in their favor for some, in some ways. But I mean, I think that, he's that guy. Like, did you see his press conference? And they were like, you're getting everybody's best shot. Like, how do you feel about that? And he's like, I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, I want everybody's best shot. And it wasn't it didn't seem like a canned statement. Like, I'm okay with that. It was like, he's like, no, that's what I want. I want everybody's best shot. And, I don't know. I don't think that I don't see this massive fall off that everybody's talking about, because of one game, it's just one game.
They were talking about it before this last game, though. That's just people. Yeah. That's just people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. The dude is balling out. I mean, I keep seeing this. He needs to stop playing hero ball. Dude, if it wasn't for hero ball, we'd be 0-5 right now. Give me a break. And as far as him taking the blame for some of these turnovers, I need to evaluate that's just him being a leader, not wanting to throw his teammates in the defense or the coaches under the bus. The dude knows that he's not been playing poorly. He knows that he's out there balling, making plays, kicking ass, carrying the team. As far as this, they're getting everybody's best shot. They've been getting everybody's best shot. I mean, they've had the AFC Championship game at home 3 years in a row. They've been to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. They've been getting everybody's best shot, and he's still been able to lead one of the most potent offenses in the league. The DVOA, which is a stat that a lot of people use, and I'm not going to get into how that's calculated and put everybody to sleep that's watching here on the Kingdom Cast, but it's a really good metric, and the Chiefs are number one in there. His passer rating is still better than Lamar Jackson. His passer rating is still better than Justin Herbert's. Even with these 6 turnovers or fumbles, 6 interceptions, I went back and watched them. Only 2 of those were really his fault, and one of them that I'm going to go and say was his fault. He forced the ball into a tight window. It was against the Eagles. He got hit right in the face where the guy got clubbed in the face mask as he's letting go of the ball. Really, the only bad decision that he's made was the play against the interceptions he threw against Baltimore, where he was getting sacked and he just kind of threw it up for grabs. Right. If guys catch the ball, and if Kelsey doesn't cut in for a split second, then cut out in that last drive that the Chiefs had there against the Chargers, he at least breaks up that pass that ended up being intercepted, if not making the catch. He's amazing at those plays where he throws it up, and Patrick kind of throws it up for grabs. His body position, his ability to outmaneuver the guy in the air and catch those 50-50 balls. Yeah, this idea that's out there that Patrick Mahomes has been slow or that he's been playing poorly and he needs to evaluate his decision making has been bad. That's all hogwash, man. That's all nonsense. The guy,
You know who else agrees with you? The Vegas betting line. Because week after week, who's at the top for QB to pick in your lineup? Mahomes. Every single week, regardless who they're playing, right? So, like, let all the haters hate. Vegas knows. The statisticians know. We all know that he is the man. I think he's one of the only quarterbacks. I mean, there's like maybe 4 in the league that can handle the kind of pressure that this kid's already handled. And so, like, he has to come adversity from a losing season. Like he's overcome way more than that. So,
didn't you know that the Bills won the Super Bowl last week?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, apparently they did.
And Josh Allen, he's now won an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP, evidently.
Right. No, it's ridiculous. I saw someone, and there was people that were talking about, look at this play here. Patrick Mahomes, he tries to force the ball down, and he's got the check down. And I'm like, dude, remember we had Alex Smith? That's all people did was bitch about checkdowns and game managers. And, he needs to be more of a game manager now and takes what the defense is giving him. Bullshit, man. The defense needs to get off the damn field. Guys need to catch the goddamn ball. People need to hang on to the ball after they've caught the ball. And then this season looks completely different. And no one is talking about.
They're seeing drops have cost them like 25 points.
People figured Patrick Mahomes out. No, it's not on him.
Drops have cost him 25 points.
Probably, at least.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fumbles, all that shit. Yeah. He needs to get the defense is giving it to just stop. Just stop. You sound like a dipshit when you're online and you're trying to make it seem like Patrick Mahomes is part of the reason the Chiefs aren't 4-1. I mean, hell, look at it this way. They're 2-3 right now. If CEH hangs on to the ball at the end of that Ravens game, we kick the game-winning field goal. The Chiefs are sitting at 3-2. They're 1 game behind the Chargers, and they're 1 game behind the Bills for the top record in the AFC. It just drives me crazy. If you couldn't tell, it's
and that's what gives me hope in knowing that it's still so early,
Right. And people that supposedly get paid for their opinions and know what they're talking about. I heard on the Arrowhead Pride, the editor's show that I listened to on Tuesday, Pete Sweeney says, Patrick Mahomes is playing poorly this year. Huh? He's playing poorly?
Top 3 rated quarterback,
Are you not watching the games, Pete? What in the fuck are you talking about?
All right. On Tuesday, we're going to just highlight Mr. Highlights. I'm going to have all of his touchdowns spliced back to back because I'll have the time to do it. And we'll show all these pundits that he is, one, not a poor player or one playing poorly this year.
Right. Yeah, if he's sitting there at 16 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions, which are really what he should be at, if guys would catch the ball, and if he, like I said, he doesn't have that kind of that little miscommunication with Kelsey, no one's talking about this. So the next time we've only got 1 viewer right now. So, but if you're watching this later down the road, the next time you think about typing something bad or criticizing Patrick Mahomes, just stop. Just don't do it. I'm begging you.
Oh, you lost our viewer with that one.
Screw that guy. I'm still going to talk shit on Patrick Mahomes.
He's like, hold on. I'm tweeting about how Patrick Mahomes sucks.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
No. Look, how much of this is just because he gets measured against himself, right?
Right, exactly.
Like, if you're measuring him against the league, you'd have to be a troll to say that he's playing poorly, right? I mean, maybe compared to how he has played in the past, like he's had some things that you wouldn't expect, but everybody has been hot to sit there and say, oh, well, he's like leading and dropped interceptions or whatever. And now they're talking about his INTs, but they're not talking about the fact that, 2 or 3 of those hit people in the hands. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very biased, I think.
People are quick to point to those should have been interceptions or dropped interception balls. No one's quick to point out shouldn't have been interceptions.
Right.
That he hit the receiver right in the fucking hands and the guy dropped it and it bounced up in the air, hit him in the shoulder pad or the face mask and bounced up in the air and turned into an interception. they don't take those away. People always want to add on the should have been interceptions or whatever, but they never want to take away the shouldn't have been that aren't his fault.
But this is how you know how good he is, right? Because they talk about Patrick Mahomes not doing well, but they're not highlighting the freak athleticism that those defensive players made to catch some of those tips, right? Like Asante Samuel Jr. doing pretty much like a rodeo flip to catch that a couple inches off the ground. The I can't remember his name, the line rusher who bats it and catches the ball himself. I mean, that's hard to do. I mean, like, nobody's talking about that. They're talking about, oh, Patrick Mahomes is playing poorly, right? Like, yeah, that just shows you how good he is.
Man, Chiefs are 2-3. Is it Patrick Mahomes or is it the worst defense in the NFL in the last 65 years?
Number 15. Yeah, simple.
Fucking crazy. Anyway, I don't know if you guys got anything else. If you want to get on out of here.
No, I'm good, man. I'm just ready for some football, manana. I'm tired of driving.
Cool. Well, if you tuned in, we appreciate it. We really would like to get some more people watching live and commenting. Give us some feedback, or you like it, you don't like it. We know what we're talking about. We don't know what we're talking about. Do not comment this show and talk shit on Patrick Mahomes, though. I will find you.
It will not go well for you.
Yeah, that will not go well. So comment in with anything other than Patrick Mahomes slander. Click that like I said at the beginning of the show, that like and subscribe button. Turn the notifications on so you don't miss an episode. We really appreciate it if you check out our social media platforms. We tweet out stats and been doing some polls and some different things like that. Tell your friends, tell your family. And until next time, Tuesday, 6 o'clock, after hopefully we'll be breaking down a win against Washington football team and looking ahead to the next week's game and some more fun stuff to talk about. And Patrick Mahomes he's got a 500-yard game coming, guys. I can't believe it hasn't happened already.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're talking about, Patrick Mahomes in a 400- or 500-yard game, 4 or 5 or 6 touchdowns, and the defense looks better, and we're back on our way. So until next time, let's go Chiefs!
Go Chiefs!